Hey everyone, Matt back for Photo News and Reviews. Today I want to talk to you about the D7100, some of its key features, how I found it performs, and why I think it's the best value for money Nikon DSLR on the market today. Okay, so on paper, the D7100 is a giant killer. 24 megapixel, no anti-aliasing filter, blazing fast, dual card slots, 51-point autofocus system, 15 cross-type points. The sensors go all the way to the corners, got 100% viewfinder coverage, a 3.2-inch, 1.2 million dot screen, and the specs just keep on coming and coming and coming thick and fast. On paper, this thing certainly delivers. Now, I have to be honest, I've been chasing to get one of these to review for a long time. Wheels move slow down here in Australia, and I'm sure you've probably seen loads of different reviews on this guy out there. All I can say is, this thing is a beast. It's $1,200 in the US, more in other parts of the world, but I honestly think it's the best value for a serious shooter in the Nikon lineup. The range of features in here, if you're not hung up on having to get full frame, this just has some astounding features in it, and it performs really, really well. It's actually fractionally lighter than the D7000 was, but it feels so rugged. You probably know, if you follow that Nikon Guy, that I break a lot of stuff, but this feels like it would be matte proof. It's got a nice build quality, and it really does feel like it's got a quality of build at least as good as the D600. The speed is great, the autofocus really, really works well. My experience taking shots with this has been that it really grabs on focus quickly, and it's excellent at tracking as well. On the back of the camera, it's got a new I button which gives you quick access to some of the features, including the new 1.2 time crop factor. Now, those of you who are shooting crop cameras know that you've got a 1.4 or 1.5 time crop factor. With Nikon, it's a 1.5. This gives you a 1.2 on top of that. So in the same way your D800 or a lot of full frame cameras will let you crop down to DX mode to get that smaller field of view, well, this lets you do that as well. But it means instead of, say, if you're shooting on a 200mm lens, with a DX, you're getting the effective field of view of 300 mils. This brings it up to something like 390 mils. So it's a really big deal if you want that extra reach. Have to point out, a lot of misconceptions out there. That does not make your 70 to 200 2.8 at the 200 mil end. That is not a 390 mil 2.8 in optical terms that this affords you. It's just giving you the center part of a 200 mil f2.8. The depth of field, the blur, all of those things is not going to change. You just have the extra reach. But if one of the reasons that you're sticking with DX or crop format cameras is that you want to throw all of those pixels onto a nice space, small space, then yes, that extra field of view crop to only use a small part of the sensor, get in close and retain your maximum aperture, then that absolutely is a feature. I like the layout of the buttons generally on this thing. I like the bracketing button on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, sorry. I also quite like this new autofocus dial that they've got on a lot of their cameras these days. Love the live view button that they've implemented these days. And I absolutely hate the dual locking dial on this thing. It's just stupid. Why have two of them? One of them is fiddly enough. It's like trying to get into a bottle of aspirin that's got a child lock on it, but you have to do it in two different ways. So if I want to go from shutter priority to aperture priority and go from continuous high to single shot, I need to press down two different lock buttons and turn two different dials. Surely it could have been achieved at least with just one button. They so rarely ever get bumped anyway. I just find it ridiculous, and it's an absolute bugbear for me. I do like that this is rocking the ENEL 15 battery, the same as the D800, and 24 megapixel, no anti-aliasing filter. The image quality on this thing is astounding. Of course, every generation we're getting better and better high ISO performance, so the fact that your pixel sites are getting smaller and smaller is kind of being counteracted by the technological developments. I'll show you a couple of crop shots here that I've taken at different ISOs. 400, 800, nice and clean, wouldn't hesitate. By 1600, there's not a lot of what people call grain. I actually call that like signal noise, but you are getting color abnormalities coming in there. And at 3200, 6400 and up, it's getting quite messy. But, you know, if you've got some fast glass and you're able to, you know, shoot with a good hand-holding technique so you can use a slower shutter speed, try and avoid those higher ISOs, you know, comparing it to a lower generation camera or an older camera, the ISO performance of this is great. I just think that people read, oh, it'll go to 51, 102, whatever stupid ISO number the marketing department throws onto the camera, and think, so then therefore I'm safe to shoot up to half of that and it's going to be good or whatever. The cleanliness of a file, I'm just going to go off on a tangent and have a little rant here. What people talk about, the noise and it's being grain light and this and that, that's a romanticized view of digital photography, wishing it was like film when grain was a physical, you know, to do with the particles on the piece of film. It's not. It's noise, and it's just coming in because of you're boosting up the amps, going through the sensor, and it's putting in crap into your shot. And the worst thing about it isn't what it does in terms of the little dots that people love to call grain. It's what it does to your color and your dynamic range, and it just shoots them to shit. At low ISO, this has fantastic dynamic range. It has fantastic signal color range, and it just performs beautifully well. Push it up, and like any camera, it's going to fall to bits. I'm not saying this is particularly bad in ISO. I'm just saying don't get carried away by the numbers.
Just jumping in here quickly in post-production, something I found when doing that series of test shots, something really interesting popped up 3 times in a row. When I shot at 3200, the exposure went way off and it underexposed by a stop and a half or 2 stops. I redid the test and went through from 400, 800, 1600, 3200 all the way through, and 3 times 3200 underexposed and the others were all fine. A little bit bizarre.
Otherwise, you know, I found that it's just incredibly detailed. It is fantastic image quality. You know, people might be buying it just for the speed. Don't feel like you're losing out on the image quality. The image quality is absolutely there, and I don't think it's too far off the D600 even though it's full frame. ISO, perhaps, but in terms of image quality at low ISO, I haven't done a head-to-head comparison, but having looked at them both at full screen from different shoots, I do think it's comparable. So on balance, price compared to features and build quality, and the fact that it's got the dual cards and it just is beautifully well put together, and it's not having a lot of the issues that other people are reporting with the 600 and the 800 when they first came out, I think this offers tremendous bang for buck. If you don't have your heart set on going to full frame and you're in the Nikon system or you're considering coming to it, I think the D7100 is a phenomenal camera for the money. Now, you know, we're still waiting for a replacement on the D300S. I'm sure if it comes, it'll be phenomenal too, and it'll have slightly better build quality, but this already has the weather and dust sealing equal, they say, to the D300 and the D800 series. So this is no toy. It'll be a bit bigger and a bit chunkier and a bit more robust, the D300S replacement, whatever they call it, D400, let's say. But this is a phenomenal camera. Don't spend your time waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for the next thing to come out. Get something good, make sure you can afford it, learn how to use it, get your gear out and shoot, and then develop as a photographer. New cameras are coming out all the time. This is a phenomenal one. In a year, there'll be another phenomenal one replacing this phenomenal one. So just get something good and start shooting with it. I hope you found that helpful. Please click the like and subscribe. And if you are getting one of these, check out that Nikon Guy channel. I'm putting up a long, detailed initial setup video and run through of all of the features and buttons on this camera, step by step, so you can see what every single part of this camera does for you. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.